episode 61, Bryce Henderson of men's soccer and coaching for men's basketball. Let's go live right now because there he is, the first guy to sign on. Love it. Nice. Look at that. Everyone joining in instantly. This is great. Hey!
Hey, how are you?
Good. How's it going?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Let me just adjust and get my face all centered there. And
Sounds good.
look at the facial hair, though. That's
Right?
impressive.
It's November, what is it? November 2nd right now. So, our staff at Wilson decided to do the fundraiser for Movember. So I kind of went untraditional this year. I know a lot of people will go clean shaven from day one. Which has always been confusing for me, seeing how the mustache is kind of the symbol to help raise awareness. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to keep it, and I'll keep it on here for the whole month, and we'll see how it goes. But Lindsay's not the biggest fan, but it's for a greater cause. So,
You know, I've always been amazed at how fast some people can grow their mustache. I remember it must have been about 10 years ago. Coach Willie of the Tigers
yeah.
decided to be a part of it all, and on October 31st, he shaved it off. And I swear, by about the 5th of November, it
Yeah.
was like he had never shaved it off. That thing was beautiful and majestic and the same as before.
It is. I usually get facial hair envy from a lot of people because it takes a lot of grooming and work and training to grow it out. And my brother and my dad can just blink and their face is full of hair. So I've always been jealous of that. Yeah.
So have you created the account with Movember, and if anyone wants to donate, they can? Are you on board with that whole program?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had one of our teachers kind of get it going. I think we are the Wilson Royal Mows, possibly. I think my last post on Instagram, I had posted the link to go to our team page where you can go and donate. I think we're up to about $375 right now, which is a fantastic start. So if anybody is feeling like they want to go and donate, you can go over to my page, and I think I have it in my bio as well. And feel free to donate. It's for a great cause.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, we got the whole list of questions here. We could easily fill up half an hour, I'm sure. But I want to ask you, you recently posted a picture, and I've seen people wear this Boys on Third merchandise before, and I have no idea, like, who's behind that? Where do you get that? What's that stuff all about?
Yeah, so that's actually a really, really close friend of mine, Sean Longmore. He is a teacher at Wilson as well. So it would have been quite a few years ago. Him and his brothers, his two other brothers, decided to start. Ooh, my colors went weird there. Decided to start their own clothing brand, and it kind of just took off. It's really hot here in town, and I know they are selling a lot of it online. You can go to Boys on Third, I believe, .ca or .com. Go get the merchandise down there, and they sell it down at Labels for Men as well. So yeah, anytime I can kind of support a good friend there and help him kind of grow his business, it's been really booming so far. So
Good to know. And they got some free advertising on the Rattler vlog, so they can send
there
us
we
a
go.
shirt or something.
Sean, yeah, you got to hit us up with some more gear, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you ever Google your name and try to learn a little bit more about your namesakes? Because just kind of doing a little bit of research about this interview, I see that there's a surgeon in Red Deer, and there is a linebacker for the University of South Dakota that apparently is having a hell of a year, right?
Yeah, I usually see there's a lot of doctors and dentists and things like that. I know this summer, I had received an email from University of Alberta. That's where I finished up my ed degree, and it was addressed out to Dr. Bryce Henderson, and I went, that sounds pretty good. And it was offering me, it wasn't offering, it was saying that I had done a fantastic job at my interview, and they were going to offer me a doctorate position at the university as a teacher. And so I was about to hop on board. Lindsay, again, wasn't for it. Had to keep the kids at home, right? So I don't think I ever responded. So I hope the real Bryce Henderson still got the position. So I hope he's not waiting around for some sort of response from them.
Could you imagine if you played that right through as far as you could go with that?
Yeah. You know what? I was thinking about using it for leverage and going to our administrators at the school and go, hey, listen, I've got this other job opportunity. It's going to be higher paying. So if you want to keep me here, I think we got a little bit of competition. So
that would be hilarious just to see and like have a camera crew
Oh
follow
yeah.
you around and
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just play it up.
it could be like a Sacha Baron Cohen thing, right?
Very
Just see
nice.
what
Yes.
happens, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
All right. Let's see here. Okay. Um, okay, and this is totally not. See, the thing about this interview is usually we get student athletes on and they're a
Right.
little nervous and they want to they don't really know how much they should open up, but we can totally
Right.
open up here. So
Sure.
so I got a bunch of non-sporting related
Okay.
questions completely.
Let's go for it.
All right. This is a weird one. Do you follow RJ's Convenience on Instagram? Because today's hard ice cream flavors are red velvet, cotton candy, peanut butter cup, Rolo, green tea, rum and raisin, grape float, caramel macchiato, maple walnut, coconut mango, cookies and cream, and banana choco fudge.
That is a widespread.
If I'm buying, what are you picking?
Ooh, I am so boring, Kim. I'm the same thing for milkshakes. Anytime that we go to Tino's, there's a huge list of all these glorious flavors, and I'm the vanilla guy. Like I am plain Jane. I know, plain Jane vanilla. It drives people nuts. But on that one, I think the Reese's one sounded pretty good. I'm a sucker for peanut butter, so
Peanut butter cups sounds
peanut
good.
butter cups, yeah, for sure.
And you know what? For me, I I like coconut. I know
Oh,
you've been to Jamaica before, and
yeah,
I think all you got to do is go to Jamaica,
yeah,
and you just kind of have that fresh coconut with the
yeah.
straw in there, and then you love that flavor for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it never stuck with me. Lindsay's a huge fan of it, and every now and then she tries to trick me and just throw in some coconut oil into our food, and it just completely throws me for a loop. So, yeah.
All right. So, what is the most impressive home repair or reno project that you've actually attempted and you've impressed yourself how it turned out?
I am severely lacking in the skills when it comes to anything handy. And I am not afraid to admit that my wife is 1,000 times better than I am at that. But so we live on the Southwest Hill. We have a little, just kind of a first time homeowners, little wartime house. And so when we bought this, it was, interesting. The kitchen needed a lot of work, and my dad is quite handy. So that was kind of our first project is we kind of took the tools to the whole kitchen and ripped it all apart and put everything new in there, new appliances, new cupboards, new everything, backsplash, everything. So just any chance I get to kind of learn from my dad, he's really fantastic with that, and I really wish I would have taken more advantage of that when I was younger, because my older brother always was. He was always the one getting called and going over there, and dad would ask me, and I'd go, you know what, go let Ryan do it, and I'm sure I'll learn one day. And then here I am, 31 years old, and not can't figure out my way around a toolkit to save my life.
Well, you know what? I'm a lot like you in that way. The extent of my home repair or renovation prowess might be sweeping the floor or vacuuming the rug. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah, yeah.
that's
Operate a Roomba if we have one. I think that would work too. I can probably do that.
even
Yeah,
better.
yeah,
So when you own one of these wartime houses,
yep,
and I've always kind of been fascinated by them. You know, you might go out to Ralston and you see just like that's all there is out there is these
right.
wartime houses. Did you discover anything interesting about that house, or is there anything kind of weird or quirky or mysterious about it?
Yeah, I have never poked my head in the attic, nor do I have any ambition to poke my head in the attic. I'm very terrified that there's just a whole swarm of bats up there. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if there is. We have an old chimney kind of running through all the levels in the house, and in the kitchen there is it's almost like a metal soup can is plunked into there, and we had no idea what it was. We've tried repainting it, and we're terrified to take it out because I'm sure it's gonna bring the whole house down if we take it out. So we're just gonna leave it. We thought about putting on maybe a smiley face on there to kind of dress it up and make it look fancy, but yeah, that's probably the weirdest thing that we have in the house.
That's
Yeah.
put a smiley face on it. It
Yeah.
reminds me of that. Was it a BC ferry that were looking for a name, and they had an online contest, and the winning name was Bodie McBoatface?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep. We can just do a replica on
Housey,
the can. Yep.
Housey McHouseface.
House in this house face. Love it.
All right. Serious questions now. What is it like at school these days? And as an educator, how are the teachers doing during COVID-19? Is it more stressful? Are you feeling that as well? Can you open
Yeah.
up about that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first, I want to tip my hat to SD 76. Our public school division was phenomenal with their response. I know really this isn't ideal for anybody. Really was a tough pill to swallow at the end of last school year. I tell my class all the time, I said, believe it or not, I don't wake up and or dream all night and then wake up really excited to come and teach you social studies. Like I do it, but that's not what I'm super passionate about. I'm passionate about building those relationships with the kids and building a nice, warm, comforting environment for the kids so that they can be their best selves. And that was kind of taken away from us, right? And so we had to transition online, and it was a struggle, but teachers are really resilient and really open, and we always expect our kids to kind of be safe with failing, and trying again and learning from our mistakes and trying new things and just seeing what sticks and what doesn't. And that's what we've done. So I think kids would rather be at the school, having their masks on, just sanitizing more. I mean, I teach junior high, they're nasty. Like they're gross. They're barely human. So I think extra sanitizing probably should have been happening for a long time with them anyways. So I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. But I think they'd rather be there with their peers and being live with us instead of being stuck at home. So teachers have been great. I think there has been some just some mental health things, I think, for everybody involved, with parents and students and families and teachers too. Just kind of feeling the burn of it. I feel like that's 2020 has really gotten to us. So we have a really strong support system, and everybody's got their back, and doors are open and willing to kind of share and be there for each other. So we're trying to stick it through.
So how is school differently? I mean, I've got a couple of high school boys, and I mean, it's 2 periods a day.
Right.
You know, my oldest son has math from 9 until noon, and then art the rest of the day. I mean, you know, the afternoons are great, but the mornings he hates them. So what is it like? Like, what are you teaching? Are you grade 6?
Grade 8. Yeah,
grade 8. Okay.
Grade 8. So I'm a humanities teacher, so I teach language arts and I teach social studies. And so at the high school level, I believe that they're going 2 classes, as you already alluded to. For us in junior high, obviously, like I said, I'm a humanities teacher. My teacher counterpart would be a STEM teacher teaching math and science. So the kids, I would say probably, aside from the masking, probably the most difficult part of it would be the kids are in their same room basically all day. So just trying to limit the amount of transitioning in and out of the hallways. The teachers are moving to the classroom, so I kind of transition between 2 different rooms throughout the course of the day. I kind of rearranged my teaching schedule so that I had 1 class all morning, 1 class in the afternoon. I think that's probably the toughest part. We try and find some movement breaks, just even some mental wellness breaks, things like that for the kids as well. I think they're struggling a little bit in the sense that they don't, when we look at a lot of these junior high kids, right, they're when we look at academics and we look at their social lives, it's not quite in balance, right? And rightfully so. And I think kids are really, really struggling with trying to find that balance because they don't get to see their friends throughout the course of the day like they typically would. So
Do you have aspirations to be a principal one day? Is that something that's kind of on your radar, or has that ever even been approached to you to think about?
It has. There's been lots of conversations about that. I get asked quite a bit if that's kind of something in my future. Man, I love what I'm doing right now. I love getting to build those relationships. I want to say some of the first kids that I ended up coaching and teaching at our school are graduated now.
Wow.
So to kind of see that is really, really cool. My first grade 4 class is now in grade 10. Because I taught grade 4 for, I think 5 or 6 years. They're in grade 10. So just to see these kids grow, and our school is so neat because it's a K-9 school. So we get to see these kids for 9 years of their life and build those relationships and those connections. So I just feel like I would make a grade admin one day. I'm not there yet. That's something that's always kind of looming in the back of my mind. I've got 2 young kids at home, a new one coming in about 4 weeks.
Wow.
So that just the timing's not right now, and I'm really comfortable with where I'm at right now. So.
Skinner. You'd be that guy.
Absolutely.
I see that Colin was asking a question, something about and you know what? Actually, the question that he's asking is something that I kind of had up for you in just a bit. But
Yep.
5 years playing soccer.
Yep.
What were some of your favorite memories as a Rattler as far as the soccer playing is concerned?
Mm. Um, I played with a whole plethora of people. Like I mean, I was one of the few that stuck it around for 5 years, and they were
Hmm.
eventually saying, "Hey, Bryce, like you're running out of classes here. You might want to move on and grow up." And I went, "Nah, you know what? I'm not quite done yet." So, my first year was really really cool. I know at one point we were ranked third in the country, which was fantastic. So I was kind of that bright-eyed, bushy-tailed youngster coming out of high school, not quite sure what I got myself into, and then. I can kind of vividly remember my very first game. I wasn't expected to be a starter at all.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until about 30 minutes before the game when we are having our team meeting. And Jim Laughlin was my coach at the time. And he said, "Hey, you're in the starting lineup." And we were playing Mount Royal University, who was in the league at the time. And they were always top dogs. And I went, "Okay, sure, whatever you need, man." And
Yeah.
we went out there and we ended up tying with them. I ended up getting player of the game and kind of just really surprised myself. And I got to stick it out there for the starting lineup for the next 5 years. Didn't screw up enough. So yeah, I feel like we overachieved a lot
Yeah.
during it, even though we never were fortunate enough to win the whole thing. We were always super competitive, always super competitive. So yeah,
Hmm.
I guess that would be one of my favorite moments, even from my rookie year with that.
Likewise, was there a low point that you really used as a learning experience later in
Mm.
life? I mean, every team, every season has low points. Is there anything that kind of stick in your head as far as that goes?
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything specifically from the athletic side of things, like physically playing. I
Hmm.
know I coach a lot now, and I use my past failures as that's kind of just inspiration and motivation for kids to kind of get it figured out quicker than I did. So I know, again, my first year, thinking I was this big hot shot, getting my schooling paid for, just coming in and figuring out what res is and going to parties at res and maybe just skipping class a little bit more than I should. And
Yeah.
that first term, I got pulled into the AD's office and got reamed out because I was on academic probation, and they pulled my scholarship. And it was a tough conversation to go and tell my parents. So I really had to learn the hard way and go, you know what? I really need to change my mindset and be a student athlete, not an athletic student. And that's something
Ah,
that I always push forth to my players as well, is make sure you get the job done in the classroom if you
yeah.
ever want to go and see the court. Um, because that's what we're there for, right? That's going to be our foundational pieces for the rest of our life. So do the work early and you'll reap the rewards later.
And of course, your final game as a Rattler soccer player, I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, but something really interesting happened where Rowdy, at the post game player of the game ceremony, Rowdy did something crazy. He took his head off, and I'll let you pick up the story from there.
Yeah. So that was actually Lindsay. So for
Ah,
those
okay.
that don't know, I met my wife through the Rattlers.
Yeah.
Really, really interesting. She would have come my second year, and we kind of knew each other a little bit beforehand, but never really crossed paths. We knew who each other were. We were both like athlete of the year at our high schools. Our moms worked together for a long time, but we never really interacted. And we were like completely opposite personalities. I was over the top, off the wall, loud, obnoxious, just goofy, and she was so like an introvert and very quiet and sat at the back of the bus and just looked at me and like shook her head all the time. So I want to say that probably the first year where we were kind of both playing at the same, we never really talked. We didn't really interact at all. And I don't blame her because I was an idiot at the time. It wasn't until the following year, yeah, we had a class together. I think it was with Benj Heinrichs, the old
Okay.
volleyball coach at the college, and it was a motor skills and acquisition kinesiology course, and we were learning how to juggle and doing research behind that. And we're so both uber competitive, and we were trying to see who could have the highest score for juggling, and she'd get close to mine, and I'd just whip the tennis ball at her. And from there came it was hook, line, and sinker. Had her from there.
Wow.
I don't know how I made it work, but yeah, we ended up seeing each other, and I had ended up moving up to Edmonton to finish up my degree at U of A.
Yeah.
And Lindsay was in her final year at the college playing soccer as well. And it was her last home game. And I had been planning, and I said, you know what? I want to spend the rest of my life with this woman, and I want to ask her to marry me. And why not do it in the place where it all kind of started. So I had talked with Jim Laughlin, who was the head coach. I talked with Travis Hyde, who is a really, really close friend of mine as well. And he kind of helped me kind of initiate the whole thing. So I went and got a custom ring made, and I was telling Lindsay, I said, hey, you know what? I was working up in a Nike shop up in Edmonton at the time. I said, you know what? I got called into work. I can't make your final game, but my family's going to be down there. They're going to come and support you, and everything's going to be great with that. I'm so sorry that I can't make it. And ended up just completely lying to her and driving down anyways, and I don't know how I ended up in the Rowdy suit, but I'm in the Rowdy suit, and gave Travis my ring. And he had assured me, he said, you know what? When we line up at the end of the game and do the rose ceremony for all the 50-year Rattlers, it's going to be at like the halfway mark. So you're going to be away from all the fans, and nobody's going to hear you, and it's going to be good. They lined up right at the sideline, right in front of the bench. So the pressure was on. I came out there. I was wearing her jersey numbers. Rowdy as well. Got down, pulled it out. I really kind of gave her no chance to say no. So if you ever have aspirations to ask somebody to marry you, if you just put them on the spot, they really can't say no, right?
Leave no room to back out.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it was awesome. We had friends, family there. I think there's a video floating around on YouTube somewhere. Yeah, it was awesome.
That's fantastic. All right. And then after that, coaching followed, but not soccer, men's basketball.
Yeah.
How many seasons?
So I did about a year and a half at the college. So I had originally planned, I was hoping to stay at the college to finish up my education, but ended up going up to U of A. And while I was at the college, Ben Julius was the head coach of the basketball team. And so I'd kind of been talking with him and told him I was interested in helping him coach. And we had kind of made that agreement of, hey, I'll be his lead assistant for the next year at the college. And then he ended up getting fired and moving away. And I ended up going to U of A. And he ended up getting rehired up at Nate College up in Edmonton. So while I was at U of A, I was his lead assistant up at Nate. So I was an ook, which was a weird, gross feeling. I didn't like that. I wasn't happy about that at all. So did that for about a year, and then kind of stepped away for that just to finish up my education. And then when I moved back down here, I got in touch with Craig Bryce and was just kind of talking back and forth with him. And so it was myself, Craig, Rich Humphreys, the current head coach, and Pat Sharp were kind of the crew that were running that team. And man, that was fantastic. It was such a memorable year. That was the year that we went to nationals. We had guys like Pietro and Guy, Colin Ralco, Mike Farian, Jamel Slack. We had a very talented, very mature, seasoned team. And just to watch those guys grow and band together was phenomenal, and just such a cool experience to be able to head all the way out to Ontario and go and participate for the first time in nationals for the men's basketball program was a real treat.
And what a great era for the men's basketball program as well, right? Like, like you say, the talent on that team. Yeah. I put them up against any university team really in Canada. I mean, I think they really were that good, right? So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, I think it really, really helped that a lot of those guys were in their fourth, fifth year, and they had been scratching and clawing and finally just banded together and really started to lean on all those past experiences. And you got some of those players that are some of the greatest guys that have ever worn the Rattler men's basketball jersey, right? Like Guy and Pietro our people still talk about them. Mike Farian's grittiness and his leadership abilities. Colin Ralco might be the greatest pure shooter that school's ever seen. We had some real players at the time.
So much fun. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. We got to wrap it up here. We've got Bryce Henderson joining us. He's a teacher at Roy Wilson School, grade 8. Yep. How are the Royals doing this year, or is there any volleyball at all?
Volleyball was a little bit different this year. They just didn't want to cross cohort with different school divisions. So I think right now volleyball is just kind of a three-team league right now with Crescent Heights and Alexandra. So I believe that this is the final week for volleyball, and then basketball is going to start somewhere end of November, early December. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that transition and get some development of these girls going again.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Non-sporting related question, but it's the biggest thing happening in the world right now. Are you going to be watching everything go down on TV tomorrow night?
Yep, 100%. So it's Yeah, I'm sure it will spark some really interesting conversations with my social class.
Yep.
They're always quite opinionated when it comes to that. Still trying to get them to iron out, making sure that they have their facts right and they see kind of both sides of the coin. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be really interesting. All I can say is I'm happy to be Canadian.
That is true.
Yep.
I'm glad to be on this side of the border.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right, show and tell segment right now.
Yeah,
Once again, this is Bryce Henderson. We always like to show off an interesting or weird or
yeah.
quirky or unique item. It's all yours.
Yeah, sure. I'm kind of in my basement, so I mean, I have really gone into modern board gaming, so there's that. But I think if I had one, I don't know if you can really see here. I'm a
Wow.
huge lifelong Lakers fan, so I got kind of these shadow boxes of all some of the Laker greats down here in the basement. But this one's particularly cool because this is an autographed Paul Gasol jersey. So Lindsay and I actually got to go. We went on a road trip down to Portland, Oregon, and watched a couple basketball games there. And being a lifelong Laker fan, I knew I was never going to get to Staples Center. It was just kind of out of the price range. So the next closest was going to be Portland. Went down there for a week and got to watch 3 different games and got to see my basketball idol, Kobe Bryant, play only once in my life. And that was actually the last game that he had played before he ruptured his Achilles. And his career kind of went downhill after that. So I believe he dropped 47 points. It was an amazing game. And then a couple days later, he blew out his Achilles. But I just remember going early to the game and having all of the different jerseys. I had all these signs there. I can't remember. I had a weird sign that I had put, and Kobe Bryant had kind of like pointed up at me and laughed. So I felt really cool. I felt really cool. I was like, "Oh, nice! I'm famous now. I'm basically famous."
Is it like the NHL where you can actually go down to the court level and get close to the court, or is it totally different? You have to stay back in your seat.
No, you can during warm-ups.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I went down there. I went down there with a couple of different jerseys just to see who was going to come out. Kobe wasn't doing any of the pregame stuff, at least not when the fans were in there, because I probably really would have fangirled and squealed a lot and just, I need to talk to you. But Pau Gasol was down there, and I just remember him walking towards me, and I'm like a little kid just holding out this jersey there, and he grabs it, and I'm looking at Lindsay going, "Oh my God, he's got my jersey, he's got my jersey." And then he hands it back, and I remember just turning, and Lindsay just saw this whole little boy in me moment. And she had her camera ready, so I believe I turned around, and my eyes were so big and just so excited to be able to have that jersey. So that's something really cool I get to add to kind of hang up there with the rest of my Lakers jerseys.
I love it. I love it. All right.
Yeah.
Everybody, Bryce Henderson, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Final question.
Thanks for having me.
Who should we get on an upcoming Rattler vlog? Maybe an old teammate or a coach or literally anybody in Rattler history that you think would be an interesting person to talk to?
Yeah, you know what? I was already talking with him. So Travis Hyde, super close friend of mine. We had played 4 years together, college soccer. What's a really cool kicker here, Kim, is he was made a career change, and he was in his final year to become a teacher up at the University of Regina. And so him and Christy just had a new baby, and so he wanted to come back down here to finish his practicum. So I get an email come across my screen saying that they're looking for a mentor teacher for Travis Hyde. Scooped him up right away. So Travis has been in my classroom as my practicum student since September, which has been awesome because he's killing it. He's going to make a fantastic teacher one day. So I've already told him, I said, if they ask for some suggestions, I'm going to throw you under the bus. Say that you got to get Travis Hyde on here because I'm sure he has a lot of really interesting things to say as well.
All right, Travis, we're coming for you, my friend.
There we go. I'm going to tell him first thing tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah.
Bryce, thank you so much. All the best. Thank you for being a great guest. And as they say, once a Rattler, always a Rattler, right?
Absolutely. Rattler for life. You betcha.
All right. Take care, my friend.
All right.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.